Position here in Namibia, that is DDA President McHenry Vunani. Good evening, sir, and welcome to One on One.
Thank you very much. I'm obliged to be with you.
I think let's start just with the general trend within the scope, obviously, of this country being a multi-democracy. 26 years down the line, we see that obviously the ruling party is increasingly getting more votes with the declining popularity of the opposition. I mean, if we're looking at other liberation struggles throughout Africa, for instance, the ANC, they've lost a lot of domain in which we had. Would we say that this is because opposition parties continue to demerit the ruling party rather than run on their own merits, and therefore they've lost popularity? What are the causes of the declining trend in opposition parties getting votes at the ballot?
Well, I think each and every party can answer for itself. The party that I lead, the DTA, has grown from last election, national elections, from over 6% to 11% during the last local authority elections. But to answer your question, I think it's a fragmentation of the opposition politics that is quite a dangerous trend in our country. That you have too many opposition parties in the country, and perhaps that could be one of the reasons. And secondly, it's the no-show of electorates at the polls. If you look at the last local authority elections, less than 40% of the electorates went to the polls in many regions, and it tells you that people are dissatisfied with politics, and therefore new ways needs to be engineered to make politics interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at one of the quotes that you said recently, you said, Namibia faces an uncertain economic future, imports almost all food and clothes, forms risky alliances, and neglects small enterprises. Tell us, when you say this, wouldn't this resonate and create a popular movement behind your sentiments as an opposition? I mean, are you relevant as a leader or as the party?
Well, that is for the country to judge, but I can tell you that I think our politics has been modernized. We are modernizing our politics in this country. People are taking note of what we are saying. The opposition has never been relevant as it is, and that relevance is mainly even recognized by you. This is my 5th time coming here talking about opposition politics. So I think we are becoming more and more relevant in the country, and I think the country is resonating with the things that we are saying, because we are raising issues that are there, and we're not beating around the bush. And our politics is not based on just attacking the ruling parties, but it's coming with tangible alternatives that can help alleviate the socio-economic problems that are in the country. Coupled with that statement, during my real SONA, I brought out a number of suggestions on how we can reform the socio-economic sectors and put our country on a new trajectory. But I'm glad you mentioned the real SONA, because obviously a lot of people found that almost disrespectful in the fact that you provided an alternative to what is then confined to the president of the country by saying it's the real, almost finding it mockery of the real SONA. Would you say that this was the intention? I think it's a mockery to think that way. In fact, the thinking is very wrong. In law, it's called an invitation to treat. If I call my car, if I'm selling my car and I say my car is the best car you can ever buy.
But if it's just opposed to...
That's an invitation to treat. Whatever I call it, it is a right of reply, because of the fact that the president, through the legislative provisions of our constitution, is a person entitled to give the State of the Nation address. We call ours our real SONA. Whether we call it alternative budget or the real budget, these things are done globally. It's being done globally. The mere fact that it is the first time to be done, it's part of our modernizing the political discourse in this country. And a lot of people were saying, why is this guy calling it a real SONA? We call it a real SONA because we said this is a real situation, that how we are seeing it. And we have, as an opposition leader, I have a right of reply to the statement of the president. In South Africa, in the UK, or in the State of the Union address in America, the minority leader would have a right of reply directly after the president has spoken. The next day, the minority leader would have. In our system, in our parliamentary system, that is not allowed. So we have created that platform for us to give our alternative view towards the president. We did not take the decorum of the president not to have his real SONA. We ask him questions, but when we came to ours, we call ours the real SONA because it's not the SONA.
But I mean, if you just oppose that, something real, are you saying that the president's SONA is not real and that the nation should not... But let's talk about the legitimacy of the other SONA then, when yours becomes real.
Well,
my question is, do you delegitimize the State of the Nation address by calling yours the real?
My brother, no, not at all. If I say, if a salesman says, my furniture are the best, does that denote to the fact of the other person who's selling
But
furniture.
we're asking you,
that's an invitation to treat.
But what is the inference to the State of the Nation address by calling yours the real one? Not to yours, because we understand yours are real, but to that of the president.
No, that's the problem with the president, to call his honor the way he wants to call it.
But it's not.
It is my problem to call mine the way I want to call it. That's democracy. We are living in a constitutional democracy, and we have a right of speech. We have a right of association. Whatever I call my party, whatever I call my event, I can even come up with a saying. The Treasury Minister or the Minister of Finance could table a budget. The DTA could call an alternative budget the next morning. Okay. Now, the inference would be the same. Why do you call yours alternative? We can call it alternative, we can call it the real budget, as we see the real situation, whatever we call it, that is within the confines of the language of politics, the language of a political discourse in this country, and there's nothing making a mockery of the president or the institutions. It's everything to do with upping the game of the opposition, and we have done that.
But I think in terms of, obviously, then if we talk about the Harambee Prosperity Plan that was presented, does your party view this as a legitimate intervention in terms of national development?
Well, I think we are going to give a holistic analysis of how we see Harambee in the next few weeks, because we are studying the document and studying the effects of the document. A lot of people, before having read them, said that they are supporting it. We can't support something that we have not cross-analyzed. We will analyze it. But Harambee is important. Every leader must have a reason d'etre, the reason why he's there and what he wants to achieve in his time. But there are a number of issues, for example, that we have with Harambee, and I don't want to really start hitting on Harambee while I'm saying I'm analyzing the document, because there are some of the issues that we agree with, there are some of the issues that we think it's not going to work, it's going to work, but we will make a very holistic approach to Harambee, and we are going to help the government to up the Harambee Prosperity Plan so that it becomes more competitive. Okay.